Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Heroes Show. Cory here, otherwise known as not single, just saving myself for Thor, and Nick, the silent killer, Bucky Barnes himself. We're talking about Marvel's What If Zombies today, episode 5 of What If. Big spoilers ahead. If you haven't checked that out, go see it on Disney Plus. Come back and see us. Nick, how are you today?
Doing Wednesday. Doing Wednesday.
Doing Wednesday.
Wonderful.
Even during a short week.
That's how the week's going so far. I'm all jumbles.
There's good stuff coming though. We got What If today. There's some good trailers that have come out already this week. There's a Matrix trailer coming out tomorrow.
I'm so hyped for that.
We're doing a reaction video for that. I don't care if you're free or not. We're doing it.
Yeah. Whatever I'm doing could be put on pause. It's fine.
You're damn right. 9 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. We're re-entering the Matrix. I have goosebumps just thinking about that. But anyway, Marvel. This episode was very interesting and very different from what I think we both thought it was going to be. So to set the stage here, the episode begins kind of like the beginning of Infinity War, where the Hulk is coming in on the Bifrost. He lands in the Sanctum Sanctorum just like he does in Infinity War, except when he lands through the steps and he says Thanos is coming, nobody answers, and he goes outside. Bleecker Street is completely empty. The two folks from the Black Order show up and they're like, "Hear me, you are about to die at the hands of the children of Thanos." And then a portal opens up. Iron Man repulsor shot takes out the two dudes from the Black Order. You think, oh god, the Avengers are here, this is great, they're gonna save the day. And then they start eating the Black Order, and it turns out that Wong, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man are all zombies. So the way that happened was, again, we're twisting two different stories to get the premise for this episode. So you got the Infinity War start, and then the second part is what if Ant-Man and the Wasp was a little bit different. And when the rescue mission for Janet Van Dyne happens, they go to get her, but instead of, a healthy and very happy Michelle Pfeiffer, we get a zombified version due to a quantum virus that they then bring back through the quantum tunnel to planet Earth. It takes over almost everyone, and then chaos ensues. So what were your initial thoughts on this episode first, and then we'll get into some of our favorite parts?
I thought it was interesting how they blended two different movies together. And if I have any sort of slight conflict with it, it might be in the regards of like timing, so the way it's explained of how Hank Pym has this issue with getting the quantum virus. It comes out of that reality and infects Earth. San Francisco's covered in 24 hours, he said.
Yeah.
But then the Avengers show up, and I'm like, even if that was like 2 weeks prior, the original, with the timeline that we know from Infinity War, none of those, the Avengers aren't there. Like, Hawkeye wasn't with Nat and Steve and
Black Panther's with him too.
T'Challa, yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a little interesting timeline wise. And again, I understand this is in a different universe, so that's fine. I think maybe Civil War never happened.
It's almost kind of like Civil War never happened.
So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if that's the route in that stance, it makes sense. Okay, but again, I thought that just little snippet was interesting, but Ant-Man just messing it all up for the Avengers.
Hank Pym is 0 for 2 in this series.
Yeah. And
man, taking L's everywhere. Good old Hank Pym.
Yeah, just causing that havoc. Getting that spotlight though too. So but very interesting the way it starts out, and then you kind of wonder where it goes. I know I briefly said this to you before we recorded this. I wasn't sure what quite to expect from this episode. I thought that we might see, Avengers fighting zombies and that sort of be the end of it. And again, in the trailer, we see that Cap is a zombie. So it's like, okay, well then maybe some of them end up as zombies, but I didn't expect them to be zombies and then still retaining their skills and abilities.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Iron Man, but it's not just him in a walking suit crawling along the street. It's like, no. he still can use the Iron Man suit.
Yeah,
and
he's
still knows
flying.
combat. Steve can still fight. Hawkeye can still shoot crazy arrows.
The sorcerers are still using portals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And then then we get some surprise stuff towards the end. But that was my initial thought about it.
Yeah. Did you know that zombies could use chaos magic?
Yeah. I was like, I saw that and I'm like, that might be one of the scariest things
Right?
ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you would necessarily kill that zombie. And of course, we see the green guy fighting Scarlet Witch, and I thought it was interesting when I can't think of the guy's name, the Russian helper
Kurt.
dude, Kurt. Yeah, he's like, goes Baba Yaga, and I'm like, John Wick. John Wick's in this? Damn! Right before Matrix 4. Okay, cool.
Which he kind of looks like John
He looks
Wick
like John Wick
in the little picture that showed up yesterday. But
I bet I don't want to deter this too much, but I bet you Keanu was like, I'm recording for John Wick 4, so why not just stay like this?
I'm not cutting my hair.
I'm
I
not
did that for
cutting
Bill
my
and
hair.
Ted. I'm not doing it again.
I'm keeping my beard. I like my beard now in my 50s.
Yeah,
It's
low key,
cool.
he did not look as good without the beard.
No, he did not. He looked
Showed his
older.
age. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
so
But the beard, the male push-up bra. You heard it first here on the Real Hero Show.
yeah,
So I gotta get into it. Spider-Man's little home video about surviving a zombie apocalypse.
it was so great.
It was like
I'm happy.
the beginning of Homecoming,
Yep.
right, where he does his little short film of Civil War, except it was about a zombie apocalypse. And
Yep.
he had the thing about Happy Hogan, who his strengths involved like coffee, driving, and boxing. Bucky Barnes was in there, who was silent but deadly. His strengths were murder, killer arm, and heavy sleeper. Sharon Carter was in there as the female Bond, which I thought was interesting because there was a James Bond reference in this episode, and there was a Harry Potter reference later on.
Yes, there was.
And I was like, they don't have the rights to these. This is Disney. They must have had to pay somebody for all that.
Possibly, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then it almost kind of felt like you've seen the movie Zombieland, right?
Oh yeah.
It almost kind of felt like the intro to that film where
It did.
Jesse
It
Eisenberg's character starts explaining the rules of a zombie apocalypse. So
Yep.
It was funny. They hit on like all the different tropes of a zombie movie. They had the one scene where Ant-Man, his hand slams against the glass and then slowly goes down.
drags it down. Yeah.
They had the scene where one character gets bit, but they're still human for a little while, and they have an emotional conversation. Like they hit on all the cool zombie stuff, which I thought was really neat. I also thought it was very interesting that the Mind Stone was a deterrent for the zombies, and it was basically holding them at bay. It was a really cool way to, because like every zombie movie or TV show that you see, the characters figure out some way to barricade themselves so that way the zombies can't get to them. Of course, what is the Marvel twist on that? An Infinity Stone. It's a very clever little idea.
It was.
And then it leads to, Wanda and Vision. I think like their superpower is just like drama, because Vision plucks that thing out of his own head and kills himself.
Yeah, that was. I guess I can talk a little bit about this because I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed, but when he says like I must atone, and he kills himself, I'm like, I don't know if that was the right way of atoning. And granted, Bruce even says to Peter like, avenge us, right? Which is kind of cool. That was a cool moment, but where it leads, it's sort of like you're bringing the Mind Stone to Thanos, who is taken over Wakanda.
Yeah, which
so it's
we
almost
did not
like
expect.
No, and again, it's that moment from Infinity War. Like, well, what if? I guess pun intended. What if Thanos actually took over Wakanda? Right. And it was like, I've got my 5 stones. I need the last one. And the only thing that's different about this is we wouldn't necessarily see Thanos rip the Mind Stone out of Vision again, because he ripped it out himself. But it would be kind of cool to see maybe if that would have happened. But even Zombie Wanda saw it happen and then got pissed off again and then had like zombie Wanda versus zombie Thanos.
That would be pretty cool. Like we did get some dream fights in this one. Like I think seeing Hulk and Wanda throw down was cool. Was pretty cool and something we probably, well, maybe we'll see it soon. I don't know. There are rumors that Wanda's not to be meddled with in Doctor Strange 2, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the Wakanda twist was cool because they set it up. They're on the quad jet, and T'Challa says like Wakanda is the only safe place left in the world because it's protected. And then they get there and Big Daddy Thanos is there. He's got 5 Infinity Stones in the gauntlet already, except he's a zombie.
Yeah.
Which
terrifying.
Very, very interesting concept and a hell of a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Which I don't, we kind of talked about this earlier, but I don't think that's going to be resolved during this season. I think they're going to make you wait for
a part 2,
a part 2, maybe a year from now or something. I think there's a good amount of these episodes that their threads will carry on in the second season of this show, which is kind of cool. It makes it like a little anthology comic book type thing, which I dig. So
it does.
A couple other things that I thought were great. Chadwick Boseman, again, he had the line where he says, in my culture, death's not the end. They're still with us as long as we don't forget them.
Right.
And hearing him say that
again, like
it got a little dusty in my living room when it happened. And then on the other side, yeah, I know, right? Like what? I haven't cleaned the house well enough. It's making me sneeze and get all teary-eyed. The other thing that was great was from an emotional standpoint, this is the very first time in when did Civil War come out? 16?
Yeah, 2016.
So in 5 years of Spider-Man being a part of the MCU, this is the first time they've mentioned Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Right? So Peter talks about, I think Hope asks him, how do you stay so upbeat or optimistic or whatever? And he's like, well, after my mom and my dad and then Uncle Ben, he like really kind of looks down when he says that. And then Mr. Stark, and now Happy, like he goes through all these people that he's lost. His parents are not really his fault, but Uncle Ben is kind of like his first great failure, right? Yeah. Like it is, no matter what origin you're looking at, it's his fault that Uncle Ben died. So the fact they finally acknowledged that was really cool. I thought that I don't even know who the voice actor was that portrayed Spider-Man. I should have looked that up, but I thought he did a great job imitating Tom Holland, and the just the delivery on all that I thought was really excellent. So to be able to read some other reviews that say that there were no emotions in this episode and no stakes or whatever, it strikes me as a little bit odd. I thought it wasn't as emotional as last week, for sure. Last week was an emotional tour de force, but I thought that they did a very good job balancing the action with the dialogue and the heavier stuff in this one. And I can't wait to see, if they pick up on this and continue with it, where the hell it'll go with an Infinity Gauntlet wielding zombie Thanos.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is the end of this little episode. And I liked a lot of the themes. And I think there was a good amount sprinkled throughout. There was action, not a whole lot, but when the action did happen, it was pretty cool.
Yep.
But you've got the humor from Paul Rudd.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about him. It's just his head.
It's just his head. I mean, great. You've got literally a talking head of Paul Rudd as Scott Lang. And
very Futurama.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and it's the lines that he's the one who says the Harry Potter line.
Yeah.
And as he's flying in the cape, so it's Scott Lang's head, Paul Rudd's head, in Doctor Strange's cape. Like, come on, like, isn't that's so funny? That's fantastic. Like,
that's hilarious.
I loved it.
He got all the dad jokes in the beginning too. Yeah, that he was processing through his grief and whatnot.
Yeah, like he was for an episode that has a lot of just not very bright at all. And a lot of people dying and turning into zombies, very dark. He's the comedic relief to sort of help balance that out. So you've got the humor. Spider-Man, Peter even says it like, hope, we've got hope, it's your name.
Right.
There's the hope of pushing and beating this and coming through and finding a cure and and then like you've got the survival, trying to find safe havens, and then of course love as well. So this episode had a lot to offer.
It also had some of the bloodiest fatalities.
Yeah, it did,
like Mortal Kombat-esque.
Yeah.
Captain America got Darth Mauled.
Yeah, split in half by his buddy Bucky.
By his own shield.
It's like, this is the end of the line.
And he got the end of the line quote. That was good. Sharon Carter got exploded from the inside by the Wasp.
Yeah, that was a straight up fatality from
graphic, man. As far as Marvel goes, like I don't know if you'll ever see kills like that in a live action Marvel.
Guys, thing. I've got Sharon all over me. Sharon
all over me.
It was like a humorous moment, but it was not funny at all. Just about what happened. Yeah. Like you went inside her mouth and exploded her.
Yep.
And again, we've mentioned this numerous times, but Ant-Man and Scott could have just done the same thing to Thanos.
There was that rumor.
People thought he was going to go up his bum though. Instead,
that's right. They all thought he was going up the ass and then blowing him up. I think Boss Logic even made like a poster about it or something. Like,
I want to say Kevin Feige commented on it or something like that too. But something like sarcastically, or maybe it was a little humor involved. But
it's a plausible theory. It could work.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of gruesome moments, but again, very, very interesting. Again, we got to see Bucky using the shield more, right? So
he's got threw it over his back when he was done eating Cap with it.
I loved that. So
I was like, oh shit, because one of the other things was at the end of Endgame, who's going to become Cap? Is it going to be Bucky or is it going to be Sam? And we also saw Sam in this episode as Zombie Falcon. He got sliced in half by was it Okoye? Is it Okoye?
Yeah, Okoye sliced him in half. I was like, he's like,
and then she looks at Bucky. I'm sorry, he was your friend, and he's like, I should feel sad, but I'm not.
That was great. Like, Sebastian delivers these just like they're unemotional lines, but there's still something behind them. It's just the character of Bucky,
and everything he's gotten in this What If show, whether it was in the first episode or this, he's had like all the one-liners.
Yeah, which was great.
It's fun.
I do have since I was watching the episode a second time.
Sure.
I was at the end, but I just scrolled to the cast list. So, Peter Parker / Spider-Man was played by Hudson Thames. Okay, if that's how you pronounce his last name, Thames maybe. But I thought he did a really good job. There were moments I'm like, I can hear the Tom Holland American accent as Peter Parker.
Yep.
Especially I think during the more emotional parts, like in that conversation with him and Hope, I think you could hear a little bit more of Tom there. But overall, he did a really good job. Everyone else was played by themselves, which was outstanding, except for Steve Rogers, which was portrayed by Josh Keaton.
Which is the same guy as the first episode, I believe, right?
Yep. So, again, everyone else that's a major character played themselves, which was, again, superb because you're getting it feels more authentic that way.
Yeah.
And again, I know you couldn't get maybe, Tom Holland or Chris Evans in this, but then like Mark Ruffalo had a lot to say.
He did.
Paul
Bettany.
Obviously like the big surprise again we've already mentioned was Chadwick Boseman. I had no idea, and I was like, I skipped forward past the credits in the beginning, so I wouldn't get spoiled to see who's in this.
Yeah.
So it was a bigger surprise to me, and at that point, I've done that the last 3 episodes because the episode 2 ruined it for me when I knew that Josh Brolin was going to be there.
So you're like, okay, Thanos is going to be here.
I'm like,
or Cable.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We do the same thing. We as soon as we start the episode, we close our eyes, and then
just
at
listen.
the end of the opening monologue, when Jeffrey Wright says the words "What if," that's when we reopen our eyes because we know that the cast list has already been read at that point, and we can just get right into the episode. So, but yeah, man, this was a fun one. I thought it had a lot of twists and turns and fun little surprises and cameos and everything. And I think this show has been a heck of a lot of fun so far. I would give this episode, for me, it gets an 8.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think it was good as last week. Last week is probably going to be hard to top if we're being real for like the rest of the season. Sure. But do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I was going to say an 8. Like a solid, it gets a solid 8 from me.
Okay.
Last week's episode and the second episode with Chadwick Boseman and Star-Lord, I think, are the top 2.
So let's get into that. So we're halfway through this show now. There's only 9 episodes this season, so right. Let's rank them from top to bottom. I think we're both in agreement that the Doctor Strange episode last week is the best one so far.
Yes.
And then I'll agree with you that T'Challa as Star-Lord is probably number 2.
Yeah.
What would you say is the third best one?
I might put the zombie one as the third best, to be honest. Okay. I think I don't want to say just based on the ramifications of what takes place within this episode, but I think just because of the unexpectancy of what happens, having a little bit more than meets the eye behind a zombie thing, because everyone just thinks, oh, zombies, it's going to be pretty bland or basic, but there's more to it because you're involving the heroes from the MCU in this. So
true.
The stakes are a little bit higher. So I would, that's why I would probably put that as number 3. What about you?
And then, I guess if we're going to go with that, I would say probably the Nick Fury episode would be next after that. And then, not to say I didn't like the Captain Carter episode. I thought the Captain Carter episode was fun.
Sure.
But I think they have gotten better as the season has gone on. That was a nice little intro, and it was kind of like, we're going to gently ease you into the concept of a what if storyline, and then from there we're going to just completely turn it on its head. Which we got these last 2 episodes, in particular. They're like real trippy. So
like I think that the first episode with Sharon Carter definitely could see a second episode of that.
I think you're going to get more Captain Carter in animation, but I think there's a good chance you might even see her in live action. I think that Haley Atwell is more than willing to come back. There are rumors that she's going to show up in Multiverse of Madness in some capacity. There was even that one frame in Loki where it looked like an Agent Carter was going through the TVA in handcuffs. So who knows? We'll see where that goes. But those are not only our score for this episode, but our ranking of these what if episodes so far this season. We've got 4 left. I'm hoping Marvel has some additional surprises up their sleeves. Plot wise, we should have Party Thor, I think, is one of the episodes that we still have left to go.
Yep.
Viztron, the Vision Ultron Infinity Gauntlet one. Killmonger rescuing Tony Stark in Afghanistan.
Yep.
And then I don't know if we know the last one.
No, I can't think of what it is.
So
maybe that's the big surprise. Maybe that's the last one that is just super, I don't know, gnarly,
crazy and wild.
Maybe something different that we haven't seen. Maybe it takes something newer, like maybe it involves Shang-Chi,
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. So I'd love to see a little bit of phase 4 integration. I think if we don't get it this season, we'll definitely get it next season.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there have already been some talks about a Black Widow movie centric what if episode for season 2. So doubting Scarlett Johansson will come back to that though.
Yeah. Ooh, man.
They're in some legal battles. It'll be fine. They'll be fine. Cool. Anything else you have to say on this episode before we wrap up?
Just watch it.
Watch it. Hell yeah. Watch it.
Watch
Don't sleep on the animated stuff. I've been saying that the entire time here. This stuff has been really good. It's been really fun. they're easy, short watches. You can get through them on a lunch break if you need to. So definitely recommend checking them out. That's going to do it for this episode. Love to hear from you. Drop us a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts were on this episode. Where does it fall inside of these first 5 episodes for you in terms of rankings? We will respond to every comment that is left, guaranteed. If you want to support the channel, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on those notifications, and share the video with your friends. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, we will have a Matrix Resurrections trailer review. That we're going to review a 1.5-minute long trailer. What the hell? Why not?
Worth it.
There will be a Ted Lasso episode 8 preview video also going up tomorrow. We're going to be reviewing James Wan's Malignant. Nick is reviewing C on Apple TV Plus. There's a ton, and there's more coming that we haven't even discussed yet. So stay tuned for all of those things and so much more. Until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.